Good morning, it's Michael here from Michael's Card Art, and this will be the final video I do for 2025. And whilst this is a card that I made a little while ago, I do want to acknowledge the fact that I had a viewer look at some of my work, and she sent me in these dies and asked me if I wouldn't mind making a card with the dies. And if I was so inclined, I could keep the dies or send them back. However, when I went looking back through the envelope, I couldn't see a return address. So this card is for the lady who sent me these dies. And just in case she didn't see my post on Instagram, I'm putting this post up on YouTube as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to replicate the card that I did for these dies, in the hope that that person will see them on YouTube and will be prompted to get back in touch with me and send me back a return address. And so rest assured, your dies are here safe and sound, and we have got a card idea for you. Now, I won't show you what the finished card looks like. I will let the card evolve as we go through the program. But what I wanted to do was just draw your attention to these dies. They're an online purchase. I don't know whether they've come from Alibaba or one of those other sites, Temu or anyway, but they are online. I can tell that because of the little notches in them, and they have been cut out from a kit. And what I've done is I've taken this die in particular, which looks like the same die as this one, but it's just in the bud form. So you can see the little buds appearing. And if you overlay this one there, you can see that it's the same formation, if you like. And this one looks like a more mature version of this one. So what I've done, I in particular played with this and also the buds of the overall plant. And what I did with those is I created some foliage, and here they are. So these are the buds from, and from that is the stem. Now you can see the stem. I've done it with some gold embossing powder. It's primarily a brown and greeny color underneath that. You can see the gold through there. And also you can see that I've used two tones on the leaves. I've got a pink one here for you as well. So same sort of look and feel. This one's still drying. Gold embossed main stem and the two tones of the flowers. I've still got a little bit of work to do on each one. But what I thought I would do is I will show you how this all comes together with the stem and the two-tone buds. And from there, we can start to build up our card. So I won't finish colouring all of these, but I will give you an example of how I've coloured these. I get a lot of requests asking me how I colour objects. The simple truth of the matter is I just use really three forms of colouring. A dauber, which is what I'm going to use today. So daubers, after each use, I throw them into a Ziploc bag and throw them into the washing machine. That is the best way for me to actually clean them. However, I find sometimes the foam part, as this one is doing here, comes away from the from the base. And so you have to keep an eye on those. There may be a less vigorous way to wash them and just as effective. But at the moment, that's what I've come to deem as my preferred washing method. Now, I'm going to, I know the designer series paper that I'm going to use with these, but I'll show you that later as I finish colouring this. So the two tones that I want to use here, early espresso, which is a nice rich brown, and also a wild wheat. Now these are both Stampin' Up colours. So the wild wheat is a nice rich golden yellow. And with that in mind, where's our two daubers that we're going to use? I'll show you how I do the toning, and then we'll move on to the stem as we go. Now, for some reason, my camera seems very close to the board, so I don't have a lot of room to work with. But that said, let's soldier on. So here's the nice rich brown, which will be used for the bud there. Now, all I'm doing, as you can see, is I'm just patting it, I suppose, just giving it some color. There we go. And as it's colored, I'll just move it out of the way. Okay, now I need about 14 of these, and I was just taken by this actual die set, and I was taken also by the fact that somebody had sent me in a die and said, could I design them something around that die, which I thought was very sweet, and I've never done that before. Anyway, as I said, I made a series of these cards from that die, but unfortunately I feel a bit bad because I haven't heard back from the lady to know whether she even saw the cards, or and she must have just forgotten to give me the return address. So if you know of this person, then please let them know I'm trying to return them their dies and also a couple of cards that I made with them. All right, so what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2 more, I think, if my count is correct. Okay, so that's the undertone of the bud. All right, so that's a nice brown. You can see there's lots of white still showing through, but that's the way I like to color those. Now I'm just going to wipe that clean and just bring in, there we go. And I did have a couple of other cards that I wanted to get done before the end of the old year, and I may not get these posted before the end of the year, but I did want to have them made. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is with the wild wheat. Now, that's it. That's all I'm going to do with that colouring. It doesn't need to be vibrant or flooded with colour. It's really a hint of colour. There we go. Now, what I find the trickiest thing with these is the gluing. I seem to get glue from my toes to my hair. I don't know how, but glue just seems to... There we go. All right, get that on there. And so daubers are one tool that I use a lot of when I'm colouring, and blending brushes. And I've got a number of blending brushes, and I've even got ones that as fine as this, which are great for various tasks. These ones, so they're blending brushes. I've also got some as wide as this. That's a massive brush. I've got, apologies. I've got, ones like these, the standard size. But I've also got these, which you might be interested in. And I found these invaluable. These are blending brushes. I got these online. Some of them are on an angle, as you can see here, and some of them are flat. Like you can't. Here's a flat one here. But so that's something else I found online, which has proven invaluable when you're dealing with small pieces and things like that. So blending daubers and blending brushes, and then the other colouring process or tool that I use would be either sprays, where you put some ink into a spritzer. And where is one? I'll show you. Oh, so not in a... Oh, that's not a spritzer. Where are they? Oh, here they are. So here's an example. I've got ink inside a spritzer with... and it has a nozzle here like that. I'll use these lightly sprayed onto the object. And that's also an effective way of imparting colour. I use that quite a bit. And I suppose the final one to reference is the use of watercolour pencils or watercolours. And I might apply the paint straight onto the blender pens like these. These are available from Stampin' Up. You just apply the colour straight onto the edge of the pen like so, and then you would use that to spread the colour. A very effective way. You can also use watercolour brushes or just plain dry watercolour brushes. Now, so there's the two-tone pieces. We want the stem, and the stem is like so, where we want the gold. Not all over it, but on it sporadically or randomly. So let me get that for you. I've got, I'll apply that colour with a dauber as well. Now what I'll do, I keep knocking the screen, sorry. What I'm going to do is a little bit of brown of early espresso, so I'll just keep that colour going through, randomly coloured, like so. So we start with that. That's enough brown there. And I'm going to add some pecan pie, which is more of a caramel colour, if you like. And just apply that at random. And I think by using different tones of brown, you just get a good, well, you get a lot of texture and a variety in dark and light. There we go. Now I think that's probably enough there. And what I will do is I'm going to add a little bit of green to that in the form of a mossy meadow. Now mossy meadow has a bit of a earthy green tone to it, if you like. I call it dirty, but earthy probably sounds better in the ears of Stampin' Up marketers. So let's just have a look and see how that goes on. Now we don't want a lot, we just want a little bit, just to give, I suppose it has a bit of an autumnal kind of look and feel to it, because you can see the changing of colour. And I've just inked some of these ink pads, so the colour is very rich and very strong. So there we go. I think that will be sufficient. You can get those, you can see the greens, the caramel and the dark browns. And we're just going to add to that some gold embossing powder, and that will finish the colouring of the various elements. Now, embossing powder, here we go. Now let me just wipe that up for you. And so fond was I of this set of dies that were sent to me by this lady, and she was from New South Wales, I believe, was the post stamp on the outside of the envelope. All right, so there we go. I'll just get the embossing buddy and just give that a dust over. There we go. And right, now with this, I'm just going to, I only want sporadic marking on Versamark on this. Now it has to be Versamark because that's the sticky glue that we use for embossing powder. Now you can see I'm not touching everywhere, just various limbs and bits of foliage, because we don't want the whole thing covered in gold, and I think that will be sufficient. Let's just see what it looks like though when we dip it into some embossing powder, which is here. Can't pick it up even. Now my embossing powder spoon, and all I'm doing is just and then giving it a bit of a tap off. Okay, now if I look at that there, you can see where the embossing powder is. It's randomly applied, and I think that's going to be good. All right, well, let's give it a blast with the hot gun. Okay, you can see now where the gold is, and it's not at every on every spot, which is just perfect for what I want. Now let's bring in some glue. I tend to just apply some glue onto my glass craft mat like so, and using 2 of these, I'm going to now apply some glue to this, just down here like this, and with the other one I'm going to, oh, that's too big, let's go with this, oh, that's even bigger, let's go with this one. Oh, and there you go, I was just off screen then, sorry. Now, so we'll do another one. The glue, I apply it sparingly, not in a feast-like manner, and here's another one, just like so. These fit. See what happens? It's like there's glue stuck to my fingers. I mean, there probably is, but it just seems to be consistently there. Right, just wipe that off. Now with the dry one, I'm just bringing in, there we go, and applying. There. Okay, so it takes just, and I'm showing you this part because I think the whole process of, that's a lot of glue there, the whole process of from colouring to placement, sometimes it's good to share a process that works for you so that others may consider it in their application. Now this is the part, there we go, that I find the most fiddly. And just one more here. Now I'm not going to go through and do all of them for you, but I think you get an idea of how the process is working. Now with those ones done, I'm going to show you how I apply this. I'm just cleaning this up here now so it's still dry. All right, so what we're doing, see, and now they've all decided to join the train. Okay, now what I need to do is these need to go onto the card. All right, so there's a number of ways you could do this. I'm going to just use this as an example. You could place them like that, two-toned, but what you're going to do is you're going to hide that gorgeous little shape there. So what I'm advocating, and it's a little more tricky, you need to put glue here on this part, and then you're applying the base like so. And that wasn't what I was trying to do. What I was trying to do was show you, and then I just firmly press that into the stem. Now we'll just do a couple more here so you can see. I want to glue these. I'll apply some glue here, and this one, and this one. Okay, so let's bring those in, and the challenge is to get it into a position that you can spear. Okay, there's two. 3, and so last night I was doing these and I couldn't believe how difficult it was, and I had glue everywhere by the time I finished. And I'm just going to do this one here for you. Okay, all right, so this is how it's starting to shape up. Gorgeous. And as I said before, here's what the finished product looks like, and once you get it into place. So I'm going to continue, and I'm just going to finish doing these like this, and then I'm going to shape them on the stem, and then I'm going to dust them so that they're not still sticky with glue residue once we've finished that. All right, so I will be back with that once that's completed. Now we've got those 3 bows, all coloured up, yellow, a fuchsia colour, and tones of blue. Now, foam mat. So this is my foam mat that I use to shape various objects. Now, there's some stickiness here. So what I do is, with my embossing buddy, I give that a dusting. And that helps to hide that glue residue that is the blight of a crafter's life. Well, it's mine anyway. And what I do is, after I've applied the embossing powder, just give that a bit of a brush off. They can stay there like that. Now, so I've got the residue minimized. It's not totally gone, but it's minimized. Then what I'm going to do is get a stylus, something like this. Now, if you don't have a stylus, you can use the end of this, which is my craft awl thing with a pointer and putty and things like that. So with the stylus, though, what I'm doing is really just shaping the leaf. And you do need to go back in and just dig it out of the foam. Now, it's a very simple process, albeit timely. And what you're doing, or what I'm trying to do here, is start to curve my leaves. Now, you can do it in many other ways. This is the way that I prefer to do it. So I'm just pressing the stylus into the back of the flower. You will get some lifting, which is par for the course, depending on how much glue you've got. And you can see there's a bit of glue on the back there. And I might just give the back of them a bit of a dusting as well. Yeah, that's better. And just roll it off. Press it in and roll it off. In and roll it off. And you'll get that. You'll get enough shaping so that the element is not sitting so flat. It's got a beveled or a concaveness to it. Just about done. Last one. There. Okay. So they are now textured up, if I can use that term. And you can see the comparison between the two pieces, where one is flat and this one is beveled and sitting up off the foam mat, like so. All right, so I'm just going to go through and repeat the process there. A bit of dusting powder, brush it off the front where possible, and as I said, this glue, I seem to have it everywhere. Okay, we're pressing that down like so. All right, I will finish these so that you don't have to watch me grunting and groaning. But I just wanted to share that little technique with you, because without the embossing buddy, it does become a bit of a nightmare when you're trying to shape these ones. The other thing you could do is also just bend them with your finger. I like that slightly rounded look in there. All right, as soon as I finish these, I'll be straight back to you. Now I've decided what I'm going to do is, rather than do the same card using 3 different colors, so for example, the same sort of design using the blue, the pink, and the yellow so far, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 totally different cards, and just to give a bit of variety, and this will also be good for anybody else who has a die set or a die that they just don't know what to make of, or what project to put it to. This might be some inspiration for you there. So what I've decided to do is this. I've got a whole heap of cards, if you like, not cards, backgrounds that I've just discovered I had in my stash that were never used. Now these are all retired Stampin' Up stamp sets. This one here is called I Love Lace, and you see there's a pink, a beige. Oh, that's all there is on those. So that's I Love Lace. There's 2 of those, and I've got I think it's called Wildflowers, and which way it goes up I'm not really sure, but I think yes, I don't know. I think this is the way it would go up, and I've just turned them around on that side. But so I was looking to see what I can. Oh, and here's another background with just text, and I really like these. So I'd like to be able to do something with one of these backgrounds and use that. And which begs the question, when you're in your craft space just doodling, if I can use that expression, and you don't really have a plan in mind, you're just looking for inspiration, what comes first? Is it the background, or is it the die that you make up first, and then you go looking for a background? And that's really what I've done in this case. I've created something with the die, and then I'm now going to look for some background, either DSP or some way to present that. And I'm quite comfortable scratching around, starting with a die or starting with the designer series paper. For me, it's I think it's just a labor of love, and I can start anywhere and end up with something quite different from what I expected. But to that end, what I'm going to do is, given what I've got here, the yellow, the blue, and the pink, I'm probably going to use this one here, the beige one with I Love Lace, and use that as the pair that with that. And I think what I'm going to do is, with the yellow one, I'm going to pair that, I think, jury's still out, I think I'm going to pair it with that one. So that leaves our blue, and with the blue I'm thinking I will use some designer series paper, and I've done a similar card to this with this die, and I'm going to use the blue with this designer series paper. Now, what is that paper called? It's a Stampin' Up one, no doubt, and it's called Thoughtful Designs. It's a fantastic series of DSP, designer series paper. It's got that gorgeous blue, the red, the mauve, and the yellow. Let me show you the yellow. That's really striking. And here it is here. So I think with the last time I did this, I think I'm squashing all of my flowers now. Yes, I'm kicking everything everywhere, and I can't find the yellow one now. Right, but yes, it is. It's squashed underneath here. all that gorgeous shaping out the window. Now that looks pretty. It looks like it's clashing, but I'm going to do something that will take the clash away, and so watch this space for that, for when we do that one. So, but the first one I'm going to make is, if I can stop wrecking my elements, the first one we're going to do is the pink on beige. So, and what I'm thinking is a butterfly. I need a good butterfly. I need a sentiment holder, a butterfly, and I think that's really all we need. So I'm trying to keep this very simple for those people who like simplicity but also like something that's a little bit different, because if you know my work, I can get a little bit over the top with various elements, and some people go, I don't know how you have the patience to do all that. But as I said, it's a labour of love, and it sits pretty well over in this space. So let's start with the thinking on this. I mean, it's a beautiful colour combination, in fact, and very, very simple. And one of the things that I'm thinking of is a sentiment holder like this. So that what it does, it kind of like holds the floral, and a butterfly could be coming in here, and you've got your sentiment, and also there could be one or two of these little flowers that may have fallen off and they're sitting around the base here. So that's my thinking at this stage. Let me get everything I need for that underway, and we will be back. Now I've got I've progressed with a couple of things. This is the little flower that's fallen off. So I've got that, and I've found this great little shape that I've made the sentiment for. But then what I've done is I thought a little bit more about that, and I thought what I'd like to do is get, or if there was, I'd get a shape that has multiple of these. So what is it called? Oh, I can't find it now. But let me show you an example of another one. So when you've got a shape and there's a larger one, so it's a stacked version of the same shape. I wanted to get that. I chose this one to start with, but then I found I had this one in the stash. And so therefore, what I want to do is get multiples and build this up. Now the problem with this set is it's from an online site, and so you always get these silly little holes here when you undo or separate all these pieces. So what I've got to try and do is work out a way, if I'm going to use this, see, I want it to sit like this. If I'm going to use this for texture and whatnot, I need to find a way to hide those holes. And what I've come up with is this. I went and got a butterfly from, the latest, here it is, latest Stampin' Up! Sketch butterflies. Now, I know Stampin' Up! Have done a number of butterfly sets, but I've got a couple and I had to go and get this one as well. Anyway, so if I do this, then what you'll see is I've effectively hidden those holes there. I've got to think of some way of hiding these ones, and it could be just moving the flower over, like so. There you go. And bringing a bit like that. And this one is over here. It's either fallen on the ground or it's sitting up there somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'll start assembling that. But they're basically the pieces that we're going to use for this card. And look, I think it's very effective. I think it's a nice feminine card, and I think it's going to suit. I think it's fantastic. All right, so what I'm going to do is cut this down to size. It's probably going to be around. So what I'm going to do is cut it off here and I'll put a mat underneath it. So we've got 11.5 by 11.5 by 12. So 120 centimeters by 110 centimeters. So I'm just going to go and cut that away and come back to you. Now we're on the home stretch. I've done a little bit of research and I found the various mats that I want. These ones, this is chocolate. Now, I think it's called chocolate chip actually. So it's an old piece, it's a retired piece. But with the beige, originally I was looking for mats of this tone and I just wasn't feeling comfortable with it, even though this star of the show is of that tone. It still wasn't doing it for me. So then I had to go back to neutrals. And what I found in my stash is the neutrals, I don't know when this was made, obviously since Sahara Sand has been retired, but or before Sahara Sand was retired. But the neutrals, if you've got this, there's some great colours and designs in here. So anyway, that aside, so this is what I've come up with. So I'm taking the neutrals, which was the early espresso, and even though that's chocolate, it just works so well with it. And I think the basic beige on white is good. And yes, and I think I've got the stacked set up and running, butterfly going somewhere like that, and that goes there. And it's really such a simple card. So let's put it all together and see how it actually looks. Glue. All right, so look, a little tip too, and look, I'm sure you all know this, you seasoned little crafters, but for those of you who may be just starting out, don't glue onto the piece that you're attaching something to. Always glue the attachment and then allow that to be placed onto the piece, if that makes sense. So don't glue the base, always glue the attachment. And the reason for that is you don't want to over glue the edge. Like, see right there, it's a little bit sneaking its way out. If you glue the base, you always run the risk of putting too much down. Now here is our white cardstock with the beige I Love Lace pattern, which I think works so well there. And I've done something that I don't ever do, and I don't know why I did it, but anyway, so I never glue my base card, if you like. I call it my base card being, or the top card, I never glue that down onto the mat or the base card until after I've assembled what's going on the top. And the reason for that is because sometimes when you're putting the top down onto your base card, you do something wrong and you may have to ditch the whole project because you've now attached everything. Do with that bit of information as you will. But I've been caught out a few times where I've had to go and redo everything because I've made a mistake with the card. Sorry, I think this is off camera, so let me just, I was just sitting here attaching that, and now I'm going to attach that to this. Okay. Not quite centered. You see what I mean about these things, little holes here. All right, now to hide that, I'm putting the butterfly here. And it'll just go, oh, there's my flower. Okay, so let's get the butterfly in. I folded up his wings, I'll fold these wings up so he looks like he's in flight. I think that's good like that. Okay, and that will sit here somewhere like that. And now in the center, and then one of these flowers can hide that one, and that one being that hole there. And that, we'll see that coming from there. Small little, perfect. I'll need a dimensional for that. Here's one here. Oh, I think that's too big. Let me get a small one. Okay. All right. Just lift that off there. Come on. Especially when we're on camera, you would expect it might just behave. Now, there we go. All right, so that one's fallen off, and this one is going there, aligned with that. Now, to attach the this, I need to put some dimensionals in here. I'm just going to move my camera there. I may have been off camera for a bit of this, and I'm sorry if I have. There we go. You don't need dimensionals on every single one, even though it looks like I'm doing it. There we go. One more over on this side. Here we go. All right. And taking them off is also a challenge for me. Oops. Oh. Dear, oh dear. And as I said before in another video, I think, I just cannot stick the thing in and flick them away. It just doesn't work for me. And I don't know why others can do it. Anyway, maybe I need to practice. All right. There we go. Just trying to get that up as high as I can, just so that we're taking up a good amount of real estate on the card. Okay, and then this will now, with its butterfly, sit in here, like so, and it's being hidden by that. That's good. And I'm going to glue this one, and it was here, wasn't it? There we go. Now, is that square? Yes, it is. That looks good. Okay. It is very much a simple card, but I think a nice, pleasant, simple card. I was going to put some ribbon on that, and I have to tell you a little secret. I bought a ribbon, a bow tire. It's one of these peg things. I don't know if you've seen them before, but I'm hopeless with ribbons and bows, and apparently you wind the ribbon around this. Anyway, I put it to practice, and look, I've got a great ribbon. It's not the one I'm going to use for this. I don't know if I will use one for this. No, we'll think about it. But for all intents and purposes, that's basically the card, and I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. Now, what I'll do is I'll put a sentiment in the center there, or I'll decorate the center in some way, shape, or form. I'm just wondering, does it need something else? And that may just be because I tend to have a lot of things on my cards. I just wonder whether I need another butterfly. So I've decided I'm going to put some extra butterflies on here. So first one can go here. There we go. And the next one can go thereabouts. And I think that fills up that little gap that we called out a little while ago. And so with that, oh, and that's where it's going to go because that's glue. Okay, and there it is. All right. Well, I don't think there's anything more that we can add to that, and I don't think we need to add anything more. So with that, without further ado, I think that's our first card finished. And what I'm going to do is I'll put the insert in there in the center, and I'm just going to stamp it with one large butterfly. But you'll be able to see that when you go onto the Instagram site when it's loaded up there. But that's our first card using this die that was sent to me by a lady. I think it was from, as I said, from New South Wales, and she wanted to know how she could best utilize this die, and so hence the project was started. And whilst I have made a set of cards with this actual die before, I don't have any way of getting the die back to the person because she hasn't left me a return address. So I hope she sees this either on Instagram or on my YouTube channel. But if anyone happens to know of somebody out there who has sent a die and the crafter has not returned it, she may have found the answer. So please, if anyone knows that lady, drop me a line. But this is our first one. I will close the video off at this point, and I'll do another 2 videos with 2 other ideas I've got for this sort of a die. Now, if you don't have this die, it doesn't matter. It's a matter of looking at something in your stash and just going, I've never used that before. What can I do with it? This is a nice, simple piece of a simple project, which hopefully helps you think just a little bit outside the box from what you normally do. And here we have a simple card. All right, that's all for me. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've enjoyed this short video, but most of all, I hope to see you again on Michael's Card Art. Thank you very much and take care.